I do get that a lot. It's too late. I'm too old. And they feel like I can't start over. I'm too old for that. Who says who? There's no timeline. There's no deadline. You're allowed to want more. If your house is packed with stuff, you don't have any space for new things to come in or people. So if there's no space in your house for a partner, how's he going to come in?
Welcome to A Holistic Dose. We've been through the plot twists, divorce, parenting, burnout, reinvention, and now we're doing midlife with way more honesty and way less BS. Think of us as your unfiltered friends, here to remind you that you're not too late, too old, or too far behind. I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Jeanette. Today we have a guest with us. She is a certified midlife coach and host of Thrive with Intention podcast named Jody Phifer. Hi, Jody. Thank you so much for being with us.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, us too. Tell us, what does a midlife coach do?
Yeah, great question. I think a lot of people have no clue what a coach actually does.
But I'm so intrigued.
Yeah. So in its simplest form, a coach helps you to think on purpose in a way that will help you identify kind of negative thought to reaction or result or experience loops that we end up getting into. And from that, take aligned action. And we're going to do that all in a safe, very non-judgmental space where you get to show up as the real, fully messy you. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
How is it different than therapy?
Yeah, that's a huge question. Very common question. It is different from therapy because therapy, and let me just say, I love therapy, huge fan. I've had a lot of therapy in my life dealing with like childhood trauma stuff, and therapists are amazing and they help us to process things from our past. It's extremely important. Coaching is different in the fact that it is forward facing, right? So where therapy is like, okay, what happened and how do we process what has happened? Therapy is like, okay, now what? What do you want next? What do we want to build from here? So very future facing. And another difference in therapy and coaching is therapy is they are licensed. They go through a lot of school to become a therapist. Coaching is not like that. Coaching is not regulated. So it's a completely unregulated industry. Anybody can call themselves a coach at any moment. And you don't have to have training. I do. I'm certified, and I continue to train all the time. And I love that. But certification does not necessarily mean they are a great coach. And not having a certification doesn't automatically mean that they are a terrible coach, right? A lot of it comes from life experience and just how you are relating to people.
Yeah.
How did you take the path to become a coach, and where was your career before this?
Yeah, so I have had a lot of variety in my career path. Um, I have done a lot of different things. And right before I became a coach, I was actually a travel blogger, which sounds
Oh,
completely unrelated. But I was a travel blogger. I had been travel blogging for about 6 years. And I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I love to travel. My family and I travel quite a bit. And so it was something I always enjoyed talking about. I did travel planning for people and it was great. And then, there were a lot of changes with Google and algorithms and all this stuff that came up. And it was kind of interesting timing because for me, I was already getting to a point where I felt like it always kind of bugged me that I just really felt like I could be doing more. I could be helping people more deeply. Travel is great. I think it's very enriching. I think it has a important spot in our lives, but at the same time, was I really helping people on the deepest level that I could? And I didn't feel like I was. I felt like I had a lot more in me for that. And so as the Google, changes were coming about, I was also realizing that, my son is getting older. We do a lot of family travel. And that's what my blog was focused on. And it was dawning on me that, oh, we're getting to this point where family travel is not going to be our primary travel anymore. It's going to be me and my husband, or
yep.
sometimes me and my girlfriends, or whatever. And so I was kind of, just in this weird place where I was like, all right, well, I'm going to need to change directions, even if I stay with travel blogging, just because of all the changes with Google and all that. I knew I was going to need to go a little different direction. So, and then with all the other life stuff going on, it was kind of like, okay. And I'd always had this tug anyway So yeah, I allowed myself a lot of space, which I think was absolutely crucial, important. I stepped back really for about 3 months. I stopped working on the travel blog and I just stepped back and thought, I don't know what the next phase is going to be, but there's something there. And so I really just allowed myself the time to just let it bubble up on its own. And I had a lot of experience in the coaching world. I have had coaches myself. I've been part of group coaching programs. I'm a complete personal development junkie. I listen to all the podcasts. I read all the books. I'm very invested in all of that. And as I said, I had a lot of childhood trauma, and people have told me many times over the years when they hear my story and they're like, how do you even function? How do
Yeah.
you have a good life after all that? And I think all of that kind of just combined, and I started thinking about coaching. And even then, honestly, it was not like a direct coaching. Oh, yes, that's the answer. I'll be great at that.
Mhm.
I had a lot of imposter syndrome that popped up and a lot of negative self-talk, like we all do when we're wanting to try
Yep.
something new. And, I really kept thinking, do I want to put myself out there in this way? Do I want to see what I'm capable of in this way? Am I willing to, be vulnerable and just go out there and do it, even though parts of my brain were saying, who do you think you are to
Oh
do
my
this?
God. We deal with
Right?
that all the time. Yes.
Everybody. We all
Mhm.
do. We all do. It's not talked about nearly enough.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But so I do want to see what I'm capable of. And I do know that I have a lot to offer that will be helpful to women. And so I just said, you know what? Scared or not, here we go. We're just gonna do it. I'm just gonna go all in. And yeah,
And why the focus on midlife?
yeah, because, I didn't realize this until I got there.
Mhm.
I'm about to be 50, like a handful of days away from 50. And I really did not understand until I reached midlife. I think so many of us deal with this.
Mhm.
We get to this stage and we are like, holy crap, there are a lot of changes going on. Not only, I mean, there's changes in our bodies, Lord knows,
Oh,
the
yeah.
hormones and all of that. That could be its own whole podcast or
Yeah.
multiple. Um, but also, you know, everything around us is shifting, right? If you've been a mom, that role changes so
Mhm.
dramatically. And I don't think it's something we're prepared for. And I know I wasn't.
Yeah.
And your relationships are changing, not only your relationship with your kids, but your relationship with your spouse and even your friends. A lot of us, we have friends because our kids were in the same activities.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then when our kids are no longer in those activities, it's kind of like, oh, are we still friends? Do I still even want to be friends with these people? Do they want to be friends with me? What else do we have in common? Where can I find other connections, right?
Well, what Jeanette deals with a lot in her practice as being a family law attorney, and I experienced this too, and she did as well when we went through divorce. All of a sudden, it's not even that. It's like your whole relationships systems are kind of changed entirely, and you're like, okay, now what?
Exactly. Yeah. It's
Mm-hmm.
that lots of now what comes up
Mm-hmm.
for my clients. That's a
Yeah.
common phrase.
And it seems like when we get to our 40s, that it's just so common that something that worked for us for a long time no
Uh-huh.
longer does. So I,
Mm-hmm.
I see it usually with marriage since I'm a divorce attorney,
Oh, yeah.
but I also see it with careers,
Mm-hmm.
especially with divorce attorneys, colleagues, and
Mm-hmm.
myself. I hit my 40s and I'm like, I like the litigation and the nastiness no longer worked for me. And so I think so much of the time we get to this point in our life and it's like, okay, this marriage doesn't make sense anymore. This
Uh-huh.
career
Yep.
doesn't, or I was so focused on my kids and now they're about to go to college and we need to somehow reinvent ourselves.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. And that's one of the things I work on so much with clients because there is so much identity work to do there, right? In all those situations. The shifting mom role is huge, right? Or even, I mean, I have friends who are middle-aged like me and they don't even have kids. And even for them, they're going through those same kind of identity shifts. It's just
Mm-hmm.
more around their career or whatever, like you say, whatever I've been doing doesn't feel quite right anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so many of us wrap so much of our identity around our career, what we do, it's who we are, right? And that
Mm-hmm.
can be really hard to let go of and shift into and even just figure out what does that next phase look like. And I just really, I felt like the people, the midlife, my fellow midlife women needed support. They need somebody who gets that unique mix of changes and shifting and reinvention and, reawakening in a lot of cases that they're going through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us, what does it look like to work with you as a coach?
Yeah. So I offer mostly right now, I have one package, just one. I wanted to keep it really simple. There's a lot of coaches out there who have a lot of different ways to work with them. And I was like, I just want it real simple. I want it simple for me. I want it simple for my people. So you can work with me one-on-one, and I have a coaching package for that. And it's a 12-week program. So everybody starts out with 12 weeks. And through that 12 weeks, they get a live session with me 9 times. So we have 9 different live sessions, and those are usually an hour long. They can be a little shorter, a little longer, but typically they're an hour. And the reason that I've chosen the 12 weeks is because there's so much work to do. We start off by really like identifying how to even start observing the thoughts that you're having. We start off by teaching, why that's important and how those thoughts are actually what's controlling so much of everything else in your life, from the way you're feeling to then the actions you take to then what is that experience going to be like for you? What kind of results are you getting? And it's something that we have never been taught. When we were young and, going through school or whatever, like you're taught math and you're taught that health is important in health class and, PE and whatever. But nobody really ever teaches us that we don't have to just be at the mercy of these thoughts that are pinging around in
Yeah.
our head all the time, right? We actually have a lot of control, but we don't even know that. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of teaching that goes into that and a lot of just building that awareness and figuring out, how do I even pay attention to this? How do I even know what I'm thinking
Mm-hmm.
and observing it, and then figuring out, okay, how do I plant the thoughts that I want? How do I shift those negative thoughts that aren't serving me into something more positive? And then from there we start to, we practice it, and then we start looking at, okay, what kind of actions are we going to take now from that? And we do a lot of identity work. We do a lot of working to figure out what it is that you actually do want in this next phase. Almost every single client that I work with in this stage of life, they know they want something new. They want something a little different. They want something a little more. And they have a really hard time nailing down what that is and defining it.
Is that
And
where they tend to come to you first? It's just like, they're like, I want to change. I'm not really sure where. And
Mhm. Yeah.
you just go from there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have some clients, of course, that come to me when they're in the middle of some big life transition, like,
Uh-huh.
they're going through divorce or big career changes or something,
Yeah.
and they're feeling a little lost in that.
Yeah.
But the majority, it's much quieter, right? It's just
Yeah.
like, there's something
Yeah.
a little off. And, we deal with so much guilt too,
Mm-hmm.
as women, especially if they're successful women or wealthy
Yes.
women.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the areas that stand out for you in those
Yeah.
spaces?
Well, so, it's so interesting because we're conditioned. I mean, we all know, right? We've grown up being taught to be good, and you don't want to be greedy, and you should be grateful for everything you have and all of those things. And that's all true, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we want to be grateful. Gratitude is hugely important. But somewhere along the way, we were taught that, like, if you're grateful for what you have, you can't want more or
More.
different or additional, right?
Yeah.
And that's just crazy. So that's what I think, especially women who have what looks like a beautiful life on paper, right? Their Instagram is on point, right? They
Which
look
is usually
amazing.
the most fake example, anyhow.
Absolutely, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we kind of know that, but it doesn't change.
100.
We
Mm-hmm.
still see it and we have a perception of it in our heads, thinking, oh, they've
Mhm.
got it all together,
Right.
right? Well, nobody has it all together.
Mhm.
Nobody.
Right.
And we feel like because we have so much more than other people, there's so many people who have it worse off than me,
Mhm.
that how dare I, right? How
Yeah.
dare you want more? You want more money? Really? You don't have enough? Like, you want more vacations? You don't have enough?
Well, do you
You
feel
don't
like
want more time?
right. Do you feel
All
like
of
that
it.
has a lot to do with our generation too, though? Like growing up for myself, anytime I would explain to like my parents that like, oh, I was going after a promotion or I wanted more money to your point, or I wanted more this, and this. And they're like, oh, well, you've made more than I've ever made. And I'm
Mhm.
like, and like I'm trying to reschool and retrain myself to how I want to teach my daughter and lay that foundation that you should
Yes.
go after more and not be thinking in the, but that held me back for so long,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, it does a lot of people. It does a lot of people. And it does show up as guilt. Like, as soon as you start thinking, I want to do something different, or it's all of those guilt. Like,
Mhm.
just be grateful for what you have. Can't you just be satisfied, right?
Right.
But you can be both. You can
Or
be
you wasted all this
insanely
money
grateful.
on this college degree or,
Yeah.
and the list goes on and on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, and I mean, listen, I always like to tell people, like, I'm not preaching to you from the mountaintop. Okay. I'm down in
Mhm.
the mud right there with you. I struggle with the exact same stuff. We all do. And I think that's important to normalize it, like, nobody is perfect. Nobody has it all together all the time. We're all working through this. But it is interesting how, if you're really grateful for what you have and you go after more, that's where you grow, right?
Mhm.
And
Hmm.
Yeah.
different things. I mean, look, my career path is all over the place if you look at it, but it's really not. It doesn't feel that way to me, but it does look like that on paper, right? I was a
Right.
travel blogger, and I've been a fitness instructor, and I was a financial advisor, right? Like, all these different things that seem unrelated. And I have a finance degree, and now I'm a life coach. Like,
Yeah.
are you really using that degree? Well, not directly, maybe. Like,
Right.
I'm not telling people what to do with their retirement accounts anymore, but everything we do, we learn from, right? We grow in a different way. Every time you do something new, whether it's a new hobby, a new book you read, a new genre, a new restaurant you try, like, literally everything new that we do, we learn and grow from. So there is no wasted anything. I work with clients a lot on that. I'm like, don't have any regrets about that stuff. Like, we always
Mhm.
say, oh, no regrets, no regrets. I mean, I'm not saying if you say something really ugly to your husband or your kid or whatever, maybe can regret that, right? Like, that's okay.
Yeah.
But as far as like big life things, like choices that you've made, don't regret any of those. They were all
Mhm.
meant to happen, and they've all led you to this amazing person that you are now. So it all serves a purpose, and it is okay. And whatever you're wanting next also serves a purpose, and it is okay. And you should go after it because that's a nudge, right? I think I'm not a religious person, but I'm a really spiritual person. And
Mhm.
to me, that is absolutely, it's a divine nudge. If something is pulling at you, there is a reason,
Do you
and you
see
should go
many
after it.
women think it's too late? Like, how do I go
Oh my
back to
gosh.
school at
Mhm.
45 or 50? Or I see this a lot in divorce where it's like, oh my God, I have
Mhm.
to start over. And, maybe someone who hasn't really focused on career and it's like, I can't go back to school. Why not? You have so
Right,
many more years ahead of you.
and the
Why
skills
not
are
go
very
back to school?
translatable too.
Oh my gosh, yes. The skills are like, everything you've learned can be applied to whatever you do
Mhm.
next. It's
Mhm.
amazing. Yes, I do get that a lot. Like, it's too late. I'm too old. I also see that a lot with divorced clients. But even again, like I said, some of the clients that I have who maybe they are still married, maybe they were never married, whatever, and it's a career transition or it's whatever, and they feel like, "I can't start over, like, how could I'm too old for that." Who says who?
Hmm.
Says who? There's no timeline, there's no deadline, right? I mean, I think of it too, like, I am, as I said, about to be 50, And by the way, that doesn't bother me in the least. I'm like, "Great, this is amazing. I've made it to 50. I plan to do 50 more. I'm only halfway done," you know? So, it's really all about shifting that thinking, and that's, of course, a big thing that we do in coaching is we work on shifting those thoughts to something that is gonna serve you better. Because, yeah, if you get caught up in thinking all the time, "I'm too old," guess what you're gonna do? Nothing. You're gonna stay
Right.
right where you are. You're gonna feel stuck. You're gonna feel unfulfilled. and all those things. Like, you've got to just remove that a little bit and look at it more as this exciting new chapter. And I know that's not always easy, right? I say it like, oh, just do this. It's not easy. That's why we do coaching. That's why it's a 12-week package to start off with all of my new clients, because it takes time and it takes practice. And you've got to just keep working on it. But you can get to a point where it's like, oh, something new. How exciting. You know, when we were in our 20s and we started something new, we never thought, oh, I have to
Right.
learn this thing now, right?
Right. So how does somebody shift their mindset? Because you mentioned that you had a lot of trauma in your life.
Mhm.
And I'm sure I've had my own as well. How did you shift your own mindset to be in this positive state, to take the step forward? And what are some of the tips you give to people to shift that?
Yeah, good question. So, I mean, like I said, for me with the childhood stuff, there was a lot of therapy, right? And there was a lot of stuff to work through. But I think as I got older, one of the important things to get your mind around, especially when there's been some kind of trauma that can really impact the rest of your life, is just reminding yourself that you are not that person anymore, right? Like the stuff that happened to me, I was like 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old.
Yeah.
So I'm not 7 years old anymore.
Right.
And that's not to say that you just slough it all off, right? And it's just gone. It's not. There's always some residual left over there, but you can reframe it in a way that, okay, I look at her, poor thing, right?
Hmm.
Poor little thing. But that's not who I am now.
Right.
I'm a amazing, wise, older woman. And also reframing it, there's some different tools and things that we practice that have to do with reframing, especially if it's around some hurt that someone else did
Hmm.
to us, around looking at how we can, and this is a tricky one because it's not easy and it's going to sound a little weird, but putting yourself in the shoes of that person as much as you can.
I've tried to do that before because I have a coach, Greta, that I work with. And
Mhm.
yes, she always tries to remind me, not tries to, she does, like, how would you approach this with love and, flip the whole scenario. And I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
changes everything.
It does change everything, right? And
Hmm.
like I said, it's not easy because what our knee-jerk reaction is, we just want to be mad about it.
Hmm.
We want to be
Yep.
upset about it. And we have this thought in our heads that like, no, if I do that, I'm letting them off the hook
Hmm.
somehow.
Yeah.
But it's not about them,
Right. And they're
right?
not
It's
even
about
probably
you.
thinking twice about it.
No, they're
Yeah.
not, probably. And even if they are, who cares?
Uh-huh.
That's none of my business what they're thinking about,
Yeah.
right? I'm trying to protect my peace and I'm trying to live my best life and go forward in the best way I can. So I'm not going to worry about what they're doing or thinking or feeling or any of that, right? And I'm going to approach this in a way that brings me to the point that I need to be at to go forward and do the things I want to do in the way I want to do them. So if that means that I'm going to just kind of humble myself a little bit, put myself in their situation. And again, it doesn't mean you have to forgive everything they've ever done. It doesn't mean you're condoning it, but if you can put yourself in their position and really think about it. So I'll give you my own example. So for me, it was all stuff from my dad, my biological father. Now
Mhm.
he is gone now. He actually committed suicide when I was 7,
Wow.
um, after doing a lot of horrible things before that. So for me though, especially, and time heals a lot of wounds, we know too.
Hmm.
There's a lot of perspective and wisdom that comes with that. And as I got older, he was only 27 years old when he committed suicide.
Wow.
Wow.
27, right? Now, as a 50-year-old woman
Hmm.
looking at that, that has a whole different perspective,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't it? That's
Yeah.
a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a baby, It's kind of crazy when you think about that.
Yeah.
And yes, he did some bad stuff. He made some terrible decisions, but he also was not raised well, right? He
Hmm.
suffered a lot of trauma and tragedy and things in his own life before that. And again, doesn't make it okay. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean, hey, all right, you're good. No problem, right? It's not like that. But it does, if I can think about that and really think through it, it gives you a whole different perspective to go, wow, he was really messed up. Poor thing. Poor thing. He went through a lot. And it was bad enough that he felt like he needed to take his own life. That's pretty bad, you know? And that it really does help a lot. And another thing, this is an activity we go through with, that I go through with my clients as well. And again, at first you want to resist it because you just want to be mad. But if you can do this, it will help release you from some of that stuff that's holding you back. And that is to make a gratitude list about that person or that situation.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've
So
never done that before. Maybe that's something I
try
should
it.
explore.
You should try it. You should
Yeah,
try it.
talk me through that. Like, what does that look like?
I mean, you literally just have some space for yourself. Find a
Mhm.
time when you're by yourself and there's no time limit. You could just get out a piece of paper or pull out your laptop, whatever it is, however you want to do it, and literally just write down everything that you can think of that you are grateful for in this person, in this situation. And, I can think of things like with my dad, right?
Mhm.
He was really good at building things,
Mm.
which is just interesting.
Yeah.
It's something that's not negative, right?
Right.
And I can be
Right.
grateful for that because I have memories of him building. He took a skateboard and he made an electric skateboard, and it had like this
Oh,
little
wow.
motor on it, and it
Uh-huh.
had a little thing that came around and a button where you would, push the button and it would go. And I remember playing on that as a kid.
And it
And it's
taught you to be curious and
right.
Mhm.
Yeah. And there are things that I still have, even though there's a lot of negative with him. Like he built the shelf that's behind me,
Oh, wow.
right? Like he was very good with his hands and things like that that are just interesting and good about him. And it can also just be the things that you learned,
Mhm.
either
Oh,
directly or indirectly from them, from what you went through, right? We don't have to be grateful. Like, I'm never going to be grateful. Like, I think it's kind of weird to be like, well, everything happens for a reason, right? We hear that all the time. Well, it's hard to say, well, okay, yeah, that happened for a reason. All that horrible stuff that
right.
happened to me,
Or
you
it's
know?
just so that you are strong enough then to tell your stories to then inspire others to get through it. That's kinda how I look at that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But if you can write those things down and again, look at everything that it gave you,
Mhm.
not at what it took from you, because that's the obvious stuff, right?
Mhm.
Right.
But if you can really tap into what it gave you, then that will really start to release some of that for you so that you can move past it. And again, it's not about forgiving them. It's not about saying it was okay. I'm not going to say, well, I'm glad that happened because it did this for me. Well, no, I'm not going to say that. But I can look at it and say, wow, because of that stuff that I went through, that has done a lot for who I am now,
Mhm.
actually. I would not at all be the same person. I probably wouldn't be doing this work,
Right.
you know? I'm planning to write a book next year. There's going to be that
That's
story in
awesome.
there. That's a big part of it. And I know that what I'm doing now, and I know that that book, and I know that the work I'm doing is helping people. And I probably wouldn't have any of that if I
Yeah.
hadn't gone through that. So I'm not grateful for what happened, but I am grateful for what it gave me.
So once you have this list, do you recommend that people are like reviewing it constantly? Because it's like for me, my ADHD, if it's
Mhm.
out of sight, it's out of mind. And then I learn about all these tools and I forget to do them.
Mm-hmm.
So do you recommend that they're doing this, like writing it down and kind of consistently going back to it? Or it's just like when things come up?
Yeah, I think it depends on you.
Hmm.
So, if for some people it's going to be really helpful, really the biggest therapeutic win that you get here is by actually pouring it out.
Hmm.
So, a lot of people, once they do that, it's really kind of done. It depends, right? It depends on how deep it is. It depends on how caught up you are in the negative side of it. But for some people, they can just do it one time and they really feel a lot better about it and they can just move on and it's kind of packed away. For other people, yeah, they need to redo it. I would say probably just reading back over it won't be as effective as doing it again when things come up,
Oh, okay.
right? Because it really is, it's that pouring out. It's like you're literally expelling it from your body and expelling it from your mind. And that's where the power comes in. For mine, I can tell you, I did this several years ago about my dad. And when I did it, when I was done, I really did feel so much just lighter about it all. And I felt like, okay, this was very therapeutic. I feel really good about it. And I burned it. And that felt therapeutic. And it's kind of woo woo, right? But I was like, I'm burning it. I'm like really releasing it was the point behind it. So there's all kind of like little symbolic things you can tie in there too. But yeah, probably revisiting it. If it still continues to bubble up,
Yeah.
try it again, right? Try it again.
Do you see that people are holding on to, because I know that, we hold on to issues with people and, where do we go in our career? Something that's pretty big for me, and I'm bringing back some organizers to my house tomorrow, is holding on to stuff. It definitely comes from, my mom kind of grew up this way, like holding on
Hmm.
to things.
Mine too.
And she got it from her father, because he was an immigrant from Ukraine, and he would have his garage and it was full of things. And he was a property landlord. He owned a bunch of properties, and he would keep all the things, every kind of screw, nut, bolt, everything. And
Hmm.
every year they would send my grandpa away to this like Silver Springs in Florida to like heal. And they would bring in a huge dumpster and they clear it all out and
Oh,
organize it. And it
wow.
was a huge thing. And it
Uh-huh.
wasn't in the house, but it was definitely in the garage. Now, for me, I live in a condo, so
Hmm.
don't have that much space. But growing up, it was like things are everywhere, and I have this deep desire. I hired these organizers a couple months ago. We did the first one, or clear out, and now I'm really feeling like there's a shift that I'm ready for, and
Mm.
I'm bringing them back in again tomorrow, and I'm pre-cleaning today just
Hmm.
because. And they're like, "Well, let us know what you need help with. Let's do a FaceTime." And I said, "Honestly, I just need you guys here for emotional support, if I'm being honest,
Hmm.
and somebody to hold me accountable because." When I see things around me, I get so overwhelmed and I shut down and I just want to go crawl into bed and take a nap. And
Hmm.
it's become real that I've known like I can accept this and I need your help to be here and do it with me. Know that let's do this second round and like, all these things that we just made nice bins for, I haven't touched them in 3 months. Let's just get rid of them. And I
Hmm.
cannot wait.
Yeah, that is a struggle for a lot of people, and I know I can totally relate to what you're talking about. My grandmother is still around. She is 95 years old,
Wow.
and yes, it's great. And she's amazing, but boy, does she hold on to stuff. Holy cow.
hmm Well,
She's in an apartment now, so it's a
the
lot harder.
money is tied to it for me, I think,
Oh,
is like,
yeah.
do I need it again? Or then I have like the ADHD thing that's like out of sight, out of mind. So I'll have like 10 pairs of scissors and all the things. So
Yeah.
it's trying to create bins for all the like-minded things. But
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm. So for you, is it just stuff like that, like extra scissors and things like that, or is it more emotionally tied things?
it's more many things, or like, oh, this set of artwork that I didn't end up hanging up. And then I got a second
Mm.
one and another one. And it's just many items. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Of a lot of things, but also just like a mishmash of stuff from when I was divorced. And yeah, it's a whole
Yeah.
mixture.
Yeah, I basically decorated my entire home office with stuff from Tiffany's house.
She did.
Yeah, like
That's
all
funny.
the artwork is from
She
Tiffany's.
did. Mm-hmm.
That's funny. Well,
Guilty.
that's a fun idea right there. Like gather all your things and have all your friends come over and see what they want to use in their own
We've
homes
talked
or their
about
own
doing this with a
spaces.
clothing swap, like getting a bunch of
Yes.
girls together with,
Yeah.
yeah, all of our clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How fun. That sounds amazing. That would be super fun. But
Because same thing with that is like I buy so many outfits and then I don't wear them. And then I feel
Mhm.
this guilt. And there's dresses in my closet for years. And now, like between Jeanette and I, we both lost like over 200 pounds.
Oh, good for
So
y'all.
yeah,
That's
thanks.
amazing.
So there's still just so many things I'm like, oh, I was so guilty because I felt like I spent $300 on that dress. I'm never going to be able to like, get it seam fit down to the size I am now. It's wasting space.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and so one trick whenever you are going through your stuff and you're cleaning out things, because the money thing, that's total money mindset issue there, right?
I have
That
deep money things. It was just it goes back to, and I've talked about this before, where it was like I felt like I was a financial burden on my parents when they were
mm,
going through the divorce, and then also
mhm,
like with my dad being an immigrant himself from Romania, and like he would say like you guys are burning holes in my pockets, and
mhm,
so I always wanted to work hard and earn my own money, and yeah.
right. So now you don't want to be wasteful with that,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Money stuff is almost always passed down from our parents and families, a little bit of social stuff there too, but most of it comes from however we grew up. And I can relate to some of that. We did not have a lot of money when I was growing up at all. And I feel the same way. It's like, well, I spent money on this. Like, I can't just get rid of it now. But when I look at things like that, like if I clean out my closet or something, one of the things that I ask myself is, if would I buy this today?
I'm going to use that today.
Would I buy this today?
Oh God, everything's going, Jody. My house is going to be empty tomorrow before they even
Yes.
arrive.
Like the organizers will help you, right, with the
Yes.
multiple scissors, because that's really more of an organizational problem than anything, right?
To be honest, they created that bin last time and now they're all scattered around the house. So that's the Tiffany problem.
Yeah. My husband likes to say, don't put it down, put it away. I don't
Well,
completely adopt it, but it's a
Mhm.
good saying. It's
Mhm.
good if you can try it, it helps. But yeah,
Would I buy
organizing
this
it and
today? Uh-huh.
yeah, would I buy this today? And if the answer is no, you don't need it.
Yeah.
Let
If
it
the answer's
go.
no, it's time to go.
If the answer is no, it's time to go. Exactly. Exactly. And I think about stuff too in a little bit of different way too. Like if your house is packed with stuff, you don't have any space for new things to come in
Or people.
or people.
Is that me?
That's right. Like I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I know I have worked with clients who are divorced and
Single
they
for 10
are
years.
wanting, yeah, and maybe they
Mhm.
are ready for someone in their life, but their closet is packed to the gills, right?
Right.
There's
And so
no way.
energetically, there's no room
That's
even.
right. Energetically, there's no room. Energetically, there's no space in
And
the
it's
house.
what's weird is that I know for the last several months, this is like my therapy session now with you. I know
Yeah.
that this is what's holding me back, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I had been avoiding it for so long. And I did it like 3 months ago. And now I'm like, okay, I'm finally ready.
Yeah, good. And sometimes it just takes that time, right? Maybe
Mhm.
you weren't ready
Yeah.
before, and that's why it's taken you so long. And so you just go from where you are now. But
Mhm.
if you think about it like that, and what other things are you wanting in your life? It's like with anything. I think what is the Bible verse that talks about how God doesn't give you anything more than you can handle? And we think about that with negative things, but I like to apply it to positive things too,
Yep.
right?
That's true.
So it's just like if somebody is wanting to make more money, but they don't ever look at the money they have. They
Mhm.
overspend, and I've got a client that I've been working with about this, just kind of habitual spending, right? Not intentional, impulse buying, all that stuff. Think about it, buying on Amazon, that kind of thing.
I'm a bit about that way too.
I love Amazon. Do not get me wrong. We have multiple packages show up,
Yeah.
almost daily at our house,
Oh,
honestly,
it's
with
a good
Amazon.
the dopamine high.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But I'll give you a tip on that one too in a second. If you're not showing that you can handle the money that you have, why is God, the universe, whoever, why is more going to be brought into your life,
That's a good point.
right?
Yeah.
So if there's no space in your house for a partner, how's he going to come in?
Yeah.
And I'm
Yep.
not saying you're looking for a partner, but I'm just saying,
No,
right?
you're hitting the nail on the head.
Okay. And with other things too, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we hold on to just like ratty old things that barely work and they're falling apart, but we spent money on it and it's all right and we just deal with it and whatever. It's like, well, how's something better going to come if you don't get rid of that
Yeah.
old thing?
Yeah. There's so many areas I can't wait to clean out today.
Yeah. But especially with like the dress that you don't want to get rid of because you spent money on it,
Yeah.
that especially would I buy it today? If the
Yeah.
answer is no, get rid of it. Get rid of it. You don't need it.
So what's your tip
It's
on this?
not a fit for who you are now.
Oh, yes.
Doesn't even have anything to do with how it fits your body.
Right.
It doesn't fit the person you are now.
Yeah.
That's why you wouldn't buy it today.
And then the one you want to also continue to be and move
Yes.
into. Mhm.
Yes, the woman you're becoming.
Yeah.
So you need stuff around you for her,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Not the one who, before you lost the weight, not that past version,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You want the stuff around you that serves who you are and who you're becoming.
Oh, I love that. So what's
Yeah.
your tip for the Amazon stuff? Because I got to hear this.
So it's very simple, but it really works. Create a wait list for yourself. So you can go into Amazon and you can create a list, right?
Yep.
So
That
my
almost
client,
sounds like layaway.
yeah,
If
yeah,
people
it is
even
kind of like
know
layaway.
layaway. Oh my God.
Yeah, do they even have layaway anymore? I have
I
no
don't
idea.
think so.
I don't think
But
so
you know
either.
what they launched is basically like Klarna and Afterpay that you pay over time.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. That's right. That's
But
so
you
funny.
still get the items right away.
Oh,
Right.
really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's a whole different thing. But that's so funny. I hadn't thought about layaway in a while.
So
But
you
yeah,
said a
it is
wait
kind of
list.
like yes. So create a wait list. So just create a list and you can call it whatever you want. You can call it a wish list. You can call it a buy it tomorrow list, like whatever works for you.
Uh-huh.
And unless it's something that you like legitimately need right now and you only buy it on Amazon, like we buy our dog food on Amazon. Well, my dog needs food. So if I run out of dog food, I'm going to let myself just do the buy now, right?
Right.
But if it is an outfit, if it's a shirt, if it's a pair of earrings, whatever, random things that I just think, oh, I might like that thing or something I saw on Instagram, that looks fun. I should get that. Instead of buying that right then, don't add it to your cart. Don't hit buy now. Add it to your list. And the client that I have had working with this lately has literally not gone back and bought a single thing off of the list.
Wow. That's
So
impressive.
she can, right? So it's just about interrupting that pattern. That's what you're
Yeah.
trying to do there, right?
Yeah.
Interrupting that impulse buy
Yeah.
and just giving a little friction, introducing just a little bit of friction into that habit that you have. And it's been pretty mind-blowing for her. She's
I can
like,
see
I
how
can't believe this worked.
I can see how that would be completely life-changing
Yeah.
in so many ways. So how did you come up with the name for your program, Thrive with Intention?
Yeah. I think because when I was thinking about doing it, I wanted it to convey that we are not done and that we can thrive in the second half of our life,
Mm-hmm.
right? It is not over. This is not like the sunset period. Like,
Right.
like I said, like I'm just getting started. I'm not going to
Yeah.
just sail through from here on out, right? And with intention, because I think that unless you're intentional about how you think and unless you're intentional about the actions you take and the boundaries you set and the things you put on your calendar and the way you clean out your closet, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're intentional and thoughtful about that, you're probably not going to thrive, at least not in the way that you want to.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's where it came from.
I love that. So tell us, where can people find you and listen to you? Because I know you have your podcast. So let everybody know where they can connect with you.
Yeah, I do have my podcast. So that is Thrive with Intention. It's on YouTube or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And probably my home base, the best place to find anything about me is on my website, which is just thrivewithintention.com. And over there, you can find the podcast. You can also find information about my coaching, the one-on-one package. I actually have a brand new group coaching experience that is coming. I'm actually launching it on
Oh.
December 15th. I'm so excited. It's going to be amazing.
I think that's amazing to kick off before even the new year starts, right? Because so many
Yeah.
people say like, oh, in January, but why not now?
Why not now?
And
Why not
and
now?
have people give this as a gift to somebody, like that's an amazing gift. That's
What a beautiful gift. Yeah.
uh-huh.
And it really is going to be great. It's something that's been on my heart for a long time. And there's going to be live coaching inside of there, but there's also going to be a community, like a real community where I'm actually going to connect people who are,
Oh, I love that.
my divorced ladies who are in the group are going to be able to
Mhm.
get to know each other. And my empty nesters are going to get to know each other. And
Yeah.
all of that. The community piece is really important to me. And we can all just kind of like come together and learn
Yeah.
together and grow together and apply it together and celebrate each other and support each other in our woes.
I love
And
that.
yeah, so that's all over on my website, like I said.
Awesome. And we're going to add this all to the show notes as well. But before we close out, so I'd love to know two things. So what's the one belief that you'd love for every woman in midlife to let go of?
Oh man, that is so hard. Let me boil that down to one belief. Okay. You're allowed to want more.
Yeah. What about one thing that you'd love for them to adopt?
I just want them to own their own power, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you have so much experience. You have so much wisdom. Own it.
Yeah. And stop
S-
playing small. That's a big one for
Stop
me.
playing small. That's right.
Mhm.
Because we do get in this age and we start to feel a little old, right?
Mhm.
Especially if we're working with younger people or we're whatever, right? In society or in the world, or we're looking on Facebook or Instagram, like we can feel a little old and dated and
Yeah.
invisible, right? I had a client tell me people my age are invisible. Women my
Oh,
age are invisible. Heartbreaking.
yeah, that is.
Heartbreaking statement, right?
Yeah.
And the truth is, like, you are like amazing. Really think about all of the
Mhm.
things that you have done and all of the things you've gone through and survived and the
Right.
work experience and everything you've learned all along the way. Like, girl, you got it all. You
Yeah.
got it. Own
Yeah.
that. Own that.
Definitely. Oh, I love that. Well, Jody, thank you so much for bringing so much warmth and clarity to us today. And we're so excited for our listeners to be able to learn from you and connect with you on a deeper level. This
Yeah,
has been
thank
awesome.
you. I,
Yeah.
I have enjoyed it. I have enjoyed it. Happy to talk about this anytime. And
Yeah.
I love it.
Great. So thanks so much, everybody, for listening to us. And make sure you subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And follow us on social media at A Holistic Dose on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And visit our website at aholisticdose.com. And thanks again for hanging out with us this week. We'll be back next week with more Unfiltered Friend Talk right here on A Holistic Dose. Bye.